Well, this video probably won't show up till after the 4th of July, but right now it's before the 4th of July, just a few days, and I feel like sewing something. So I went through my stuff and I've actually already sewn this year's Liberty box from Fat Quarter Shop. This is the scraps that I had from it. So I probably just put that video up just a little bit ago. But that's done and just got scraps. And then this box here is actually from 2022, and this is, the quilt top is complete, but I am actually hand quilting it, and I've been hand quilting it for a while, and I'll probably still be hand quilting it for quite some time. I don't really sit down and hand quilt it very much because I actually have it on a frame and I have to sit on a hard chair, and that's I do a lot better at it these days, but I still have some difficulty sitting for very long periods of time because of nerve in my back. But anyhow, so I do that every so often, but for the most part, if I'm sitting still, I probably want to be sitting in a nice chair and doing some handwork that way. So I should maybe just take it off the frame and put it in a hoop, but oh well, I'll get it done one of these days. And I've got the binding set aside for it, and my pins are in here because I've got pins in the holding it onto the quilt frame. So when I get done with that, then I'll just put them back in the little Missouri Star holder there. And so I just kind of keep them in this box until I'm done with it. And that's the pattern there for that. But that was, I believe it was from 2022. I think that's what it says on the copyright on the pattern anyhow. They stopped putting the date on the boxes at some point. Well, must have been 2022 because I'm pretty sure this one actually, nope, this one does not tell me 2021. Maybe I'm thinking the wrong way around. Oh, they started putting the date on because that one's 2023. So anyhow, and then this is actually 2021's Liberty box, which for some reason I never got done. It was probably one of those things where it arrived slightly late that year, and I just went on to the next, I was already onto a project or something like that, or went on to the next thing because it was slightly late and I didn't feel like doing it after all. But anyhow, like I said, we're a few days before the 4th of July. I won't have it done probably right away, but you know, if it's a couple weeks after the 4th, that's fine. And honestly, I'll have it for next year then. And in fact, the pattern actually looks like it'll probably go fairly quickly, so maybe I will have it done, who knows. Anyhow, just to go over what was in the box, I actually have that sitting on my desk. It's a little, you can use it like a tray, otherwise it also stands up and is a nice little framed piece. And then we got some quilting labels with it. I have used a couple of those on other quilts. And then a thread set, or a fill thread set with it. That I never actually opened up and used because I figured I was going to use it for this. So anyhow, and so I will. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get started on opening these up. And in fact, I should have had them open before I started the video here, and I could have actually shown you all a little bit closer up what the fabrics look like. If I can do it without stabbing myself here or cutting the ribbon off. Let's see. All right. So yeah, it was Riley Blake fabric that year. And in fact, that makes me curious. This year, I think it was Sweetwater by, or Moda Fabrics Sweetwater. Last year, well, all of a sudden I can't remember. It was Home Sweet Home, is what they called the pattern. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure what What company did the fabric last year? Well, the box doesn't say either, so. But anyhow, it's probably pretty hard to get now anyway. But yeah, this year's was by Sweetwater from Moda Fabrics. It was the name of the fabric line, Stateside. So, and like I said, I did that in a previous video, probably just like a week or two ago, I think, by the time this airs. So, let's see, Riley Blake Designs. Wonder if I know, let's see if I can see who the actual designer was. Or if it was a collection, maybe. Well, the ribbon just says Riley Blake Designs, but let's see if I can find a salvage, and nope, still just Riley Blake Designs. And it looks like they probably just put in a what am I trying to say? Blender. Yeah, so don't have a designer name on it. But anyhow, that was also from 2021, so probably kind of hard to find. But just looking at some of the fabrics here, it's going to be a nice, pretty, bold corners. Yeah, I can see why they went ahead and went with some larger size pieces on the pattern. It's going to look really nice. Just thought I'd flip through them real quick for you. That's a pretty one. I like that one. Well, I like them all. You know me and fabric. I like them all. Pinwheels. And the text. That's pretty too. Alright, well, I'm going to stop a moment here and read my pattern and get started on cutting things. I'm not feeling like moving everything around, so I'm just going to try to do this with handheld camera here. So I've got my blocks sewn together, and now I just need to get those all sewn into one piece, one top. I just wanted to show you here that I made a couple little mistakes, but I'm going to leave them alone. Honestly, one I kind of did intentionally, just because I didn't feel like figuring out which way I was supposed to actually do the little part of the flying geese there to get the text to go the right direction. I just kind of thought, I don't really care, so I just did it whatever way. I did get the corner pieces going the right direction, but I had already made a little goof up on one of the blocks, and so I decided I didn't necessarily care about it, and I was paying attention while I made this goof up, but the text in this block is upside down, and I thought, oh well, I got the other 3 right. 3 out of 4, that's not bad. Actually, it is, but I just don't, I'm not really gonna sit and read that. This is just a wall hanging. I'm not gonna read the text on it. I will know that it's upside down, and now you all know that it's upside down, but honestly, anybody coming into my house probably isn't gonna look at reading it. So, and if they do, they'll just know that I made a mistake. So, alright, and then over here to the side, I am actually going to work on this a little bit tomorrow too. After I get the top sewn together here, I'm going to cut these down and decide on what kind of block I'm gonna make, and I'll probably make something. I was thinking like a hot pad or a bag or something like that, but I actually think I'm just going to use it for a block to go on the back of this quilt. So, and then I'll put down the year that it was made and some information like that. And I'll probably even be good enough to put down that it was from a box from 2021 that I got finished in 2023. So anyhow, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you some of the blocks there, and I'll come back when I get done with actually piecing it together and try to go over what quilting I want to do on it. In fact, I'm kind of thinking about tying this one. I kind of had this thought that I would just tie it with red, white, and blue yarn. Make, little red, white, and blue knots on it. So I'm kind of thinking about that, but I might quilt it. I'll come back and go over what I've decided for sure. Well, I finished the top, got it all sewn into one piece, but I was just starting to lay out all my scraps to do the backing, and I thought I ought to come on and show kind of what I'm thinking when I put together a backing. So sometimes I use a solid piece, but for the most part I like to use up the scraps from the particular project. And so I actually have here on my table, I have some scraps that were from this year's Liberty Fat Quarter Shop Liberty box. And so I still have some of those left. And then this is actually all the scrap from this particular box. And this little piece right here was actually from my last open gate quilt box. It was the binding. So I had that little piece left, and I thought, you know what, if I need it, I'll just put an extra strip on the side here to have, because you want your backing to be a little bit bigger than your front, so that it's easier to quilt and easier to tie, and then just cut it off later. So anyhow, scraps here, I had some various sizes, so I've gone ahead and used the larger ones and then just put a strip in the middle and just laid out the two long strips that I have. And then I'm kind of looking at some scraps here that actually will be about the same size. This one was from the previous box, and actually this one was from, I think, one of the open gate quilt boxes. But then the rest of these are all from this particular box, and they are all just about the same width. This one's a little bigger, but you can see they should all be 3.5 inch, I believe. And so I'll just sew all those up into a strip and see how much width I get to add on to this. And then that's not going to be enough, so I've got all these thinner scraps that'll make a nice little long border as well. And I can actually add in a couple of these if I need to. I could go into I've got some 2-inch squares left here. I can use those up as well. Might be something along the lines of using a blue one, and then maybe I'd use a little red 2-inch, and then another blue one. And usually I'm not too fussy about what goes where or what, and I don't necessarily always lay it out, but sometimes I like to know, am I going to have enough length if I do this? In fact, I don't even need the 2-inch if I just put these together right here. That's really, well, I might need the 2-inch. Yeah, because I want to go a little bit over the bottom here. So, I might just take a couple of 2-inchers here. Let's use a different color red. Then put in a blue one here. A could even turn it that way just to be different from this fabric. And then just a blue one there. Actually, I probably just need the red and the blue. We'll just, oh, that red kind of blends right in with that red. That's what I was thinking. Well, anyhow, something like that. And, you know, I may even just forget the 2 inchers. It's too much to sew together. Just put the strips together and cut a little bit off the top, a little bit off the bottom. And you've actually got a little portion of a strip for something else. But anyhow, and then by the time I sew all these up together, it'll be a strip this length. And then I'll just add it all together. So because I have so many large strips to use for the backing for this wall quilt, I will actually probably go ahead and use these for a hot pad or a bag or something like that. And I'm actually going to save these couple 2-inch scraps here just in case what I decide to do needs cornerstones. I think I may actually end up making those into half square triangles as well and somehow incorporating them in a scrappy little hot pad or bag or something like that. These are just sitting here so I can cut them into 2.5-inch squares and set them aside for a future project. Wall hanging or table topper, I guess, I'm probably going to use it for a table topper, is done. And now I'm just going to do some little 4 patches. And maybe, you know, I think I'm going to make like a casserole hot pad out of them. I'll have to wait till I get them all sewn together to see what kind of order. Like, I've got more of these 4 patches than I do. Like, this is just 2 4 patches, and then I think I got 4 each of those 3, and then 8 of those. So I'll probably come back with something laid out to do like a casserole hot pad. So I've also got some half square triangle cutoffs from the binding from this particular wall hanging / table topper, and this one was from the last Liberty box from Fat Quarter Shop, and these were actually from my latest open gate quilt project. And so I think I'm going to try to sew some of these up into some half square triangles too, and I'll see what I get to add to my little tray over here that I might come up with for a casserole hot pad. Okay, so I'm working with my little scraps here, and I have most of them sewn into, I guess we call this a half square triangle 4 patch. I'm not sure exactly, but anyhow, that's what they are. They're half square triangles sewn into a 4 patch. And then I think I'm going to sew them just like this. There's 2 stacked in each little pile here, and they're the same. And so I think I'm going to sew them just like this. I might actually put some sashing, some strips in between. But for right now, I'm kind of thinking this is how I'm going to do it. And then I have some extra pieces left over here. So I was trying to figure out maybe using those in a 4 patch single option here. So I actually have 4 of this piece right here. I only have 2 of that. I'm working on cutting 4 of these that I had. So I'm going to cut the rest of these right here. So I'm just trying to come up with something else for this corner square and 2 more of this. And I think, but probably it'll probably have to be a different one because I want to use the flowers for the cornerstone there. I guess I could pull the flowers out and use these. Actually, that might be better because they're not already in this little red patch here, but they are in I think they are in the white here, but very little, so I'll go ahead and use those. And I'll be able to cut this then for using that patch right there. But anyhow, I had 4 of these and 4 of those, so I've already got the start of my next 4 patch here. I just need to come up with enough for these 2 spots here. So yeah, so the other part of what I wanted to come on and say here is when I'm cutting something this small, I really like to use my little Fig Tree and Company mat here. I try to occasionally, I like to do a lot of my bigger cuts on my big mat, but something this small, I actually need to be able to get some pressure, and, well, not just pressure, I mean you have to put pressure on your big mat too, but I really need it to have really good, you know, sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied here. I really want it to have a lot of grip to it so that I'm not sliding it across or moving my ruler too much, because it's such a small piece, you can only put your fingers on so much of it and have to hold it down tight. And I find that on my big mat it just slides a lot easier. So I tend to use my littler mat because it's grippy, a bit more grippy and easy to use. And also, like, sometimes when I'm cutting this small of a piece, I might actually be sitting down and just have a pillow with this little board right here, and then I'll just set this board on top of it and cut on this. Because I do cut on this particular style board here that I have that's a June Taylor. It's a cutting board on one side and a press on the other. And I can do it, but it actually is almost too rough. And so it not only grips, but it's pretty rough. So I just kind of find the little Joanne Figueroa Fig Tree and Company little mats here have a nice grip to them. So I like using them for my smaller pieces. In fact, let me go ahead and cut these couple, and then I'll see what I have for the other couple patches. And I'm cutting these down to 1 1/4 inch, so things are getting pretty small here, but they're going to be nice in the end. That's kind of why I'm thinking about maybe putting a strip in between these 4 patches, because it's going to get really bulky and hard to sew together, or hard to quilt over top of. Oh, I don't want to put that there, I want to put it here. So, and as you can see, I actually ended up with an extra piece, but it's a different color of blue, so as long as I have the same color of blue and the same color of red, I want to use those first. But I might end up using that for the 4th piece of this square, or patch, whatever I want to call it. Half square triangle patch. There's probably a specific name for the patch, I just can't think of it right now. Alright, and last one. Go the right direction here. I just got home from work and I am suddenly thinking I could go for some ice cream. But I probably better finish my project first. I guess I don't really have to. I can do whatever I want, right? But I want to finish my project here. So, and then I'm actually doing Lisa Bonjean's little idea of keeping the scraps in a jar. I particularly thought This would be nice for red, white, and blue for the 4th of July, for summertime, for Americana. So I think that'll be cute. And I've got quite a bit more to add to it. So in fact, I might just find it, if I don't have quite a bit more, I might find a baby jar or a jelly jar and just put them in that. I've got all kinds of jars around here, so. Okay, so just need to find a blue that these can go with, which I think I've got 4 of these. Alright, so I will just sew these up and cut them. Actually, I probably will end up with more than I need, because even if they're not quite square, but even if I cut them down to square and then, well, actually, yeah, they're almost square, not quite, 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, so even if I cut them down to square and sew them in half into half square triangles, I should be able to still get this same size here. Alright, let me try it and I'll come back. Okay, so that did make 4 more little patches there, or half square triangles for the patch there. And then I actually got 4 more little half square triangles right here. So I figure I'll sew that together and see how this all sews together as one. And then there's actually 4 of each of the outer things here. So that could be one, and then like maybe that'll go in the middle of one, and maybe that'll go in there. Maybe just put in a couple of strips in the center, and just kind of use up some of these other scraps here and have basically 4 more pieces, kind of something about that size. Maybe even putting a border around it, and then probably making just like, honestly, with only 2 of this square, honestly that's probably a hot pad, maybe 2, because maybe I'll use this for the front and then just put a piece of backing on it. And then this is honestly probably, maybe I'll even do something where I just lay out the patches in a little different layout here. Like when I get that one, then I'll put something there, etc. I don't know. I'm gonna sew them up and I'll just come back and show you what I finished up with. Okay, so I finished my scrappy little hot pad. I didn't do anything special with the stitching. In fact, I kind of missed on stitching in the ditch, but anyhow, just a cute little use of the little tiny pieces and scraps that I had left. And I actually have another one that I'm going to work on here, and this one actually I'm just putting a scrap piece of the leftover fabric from this year's Liberty box from Fat Quarter Shop. And then most of, well, actually this front part here was a little bit of a combination of both this year's and, was it 2021 that I did? Yeah, I think it's 2021. I started this video a couple days ago, so I forgot what box I was doing. Anyhow, so that one will be kind of a scrappy, neat little look. I actually kind of like how it has the stripes on the edges, and then it's just using up the little scraps here at the corner. I think that might turn out to be kind of a cute little one, and it's a little bit oversized, so that's kind of nice for putting a casserole dish on. It's maybe not a large casserole dish size, but some of your smaller to medium size would fit on a hot pad like this and not burn your counter or anything like that. So that'll be kind of nice. And then got a couple extra scrappy pieces here. So this one actually has a little bit of pattern to it, as far as having the 4 patches in certain spots and whatnot. And actually I just realized it's messed up. Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about undoing it. It's just a scrappy little patch, and so it was really supposed to be 4 patches on the outside, on the top and bottom, and then 4 patches on the inside, on the middle. Oh well, I just noticed it just now, so not really any big deal. And then this one was literally just all the little leftover pieces, so that'll go on the back of this. And then we'll just have a couple more hot pads, and I can keep some of them and I can give some of them away or whatever. They're just good to have for summertime and picnics and whatnot. And then I got just a couple pieces left for some scrappy binding. So, and in fact I probably will have to pull something out of my stash for, well, although there's probably enough pieces here. Yeah, I'll cut this one down, and I probably got a couple strips somewhere about those kind of colors. And alright, well anyhow, I just thought I'd show you this one. I'm gonna wrap this video up before I can get these 2 done, but maybe I'll really like my practice free motion quilting and I'll show you it in another video. Then again, maybe not. Thanks for watching.